Hello and welcome to tonight's weather update. It's about 9:40 and it's August 27th, and we had a somewhat decent day across the area. I mean, better than yesterday, but uh, so let's go take a look at what we got going on here on this weather map. You see there's that stalled front. The secondary front kind of just washed out there, and you can see we got two tropical systems to deal with. Let's first talk about our weather, what the weather was like today, and you'll see we had partly sunny skies. We had a lot of pop-up cumulus. Looks like there was a little bit of smoke upstate, not too much. I see like a little bit of smoke right there, but just partly sunny skies. Mostly the partly sunny skies. There was blue sky in between. We'll show you what it looked like. Unfortunately, I didn't go to the Pine Barrens because I'm on the verge of having a nervous breakdown. I gotta you'll see in the other video. But anyway, you'll see here that we have, again, a lot of clouds here. Clouds, some blue sky in there. And there's some cirrus as well. See some more there. That's what it looked like this evening. And would have actually had some views from the water in Port Washington. Had Nice Bus showed up, but that didn't happen either. So, anyway, that's what the sky looked like. So as you can see the satellite here. We'll go to the MODIS satellite as well. Look at that as well. There's our high-resolution MODIS. And you can see this was earlier on in the morning. You can see there weren't too many clouds, and the clouds kind of popped up later on. You can see here a lot of pop-up clouds here. But look at, there was a little bit of a break in here. So, but it was not a bad day. It was, a little bit less humid, but let's go take a look at what the observations were like. So I got to go to the, yeah. You see, this is what happens when your mental health is not working properly. Let's do the weather and hazards here. This is what happens when you're... Forgot to put that up here. Okay, here we go. So here we go with the weather and hazards data viewer, and showing you what the day was like today. Get this to load here. All right, so it's down to 70 at Islip. I wish it was that low here. Of course, it's like 77 in the alley. But the dew point's up to 68 again. So, yeah, not really... it's just only slight relief from the humidity today. You can see the dew points generally... they did get down to the low 60s for, it looks like, part of the afternoon here. So we did have some dew points that did drop. You see we had north winds, temperatures in the low 80s. Yeah, just a slight drop in the dew point. Not really anything too... I don't think Jersey got much of any drop in the dew points. We could load that back on the screen again. 67. Well, actually, no. Berkeley Township's got the dew point of 63. So anyway, let's go look at our high temperatures. You can see West Hampton's down to 68. So first we'll look at our high temperatures for the day. We had generally mid-80s across the area, generally speaking. Looking at the lows, West Hampton got down to 63. Not too much radiational cooling again because the air was not that dry. So generally mid-60s for the most part is what we have. And so let's go to the Weather Service webpage here, and we're going to actually look at the radar here for a moment, because you can see that there's actually one thunderstorm there, shower or thunderstorm there in eastern Connecticut. That's all there is. We'll see if there's any lightning with it. I don't think there is. It's probably just a shower. So if there's lightning, you're probably getting some nice heat lightning displays from the North Fork. But nah, it's just a shower. There is no lightning with it. So let's look at the climate. The statistics for the day. So I'm pretty sure we'll come out above normal. Yep, the high was 4 degrees above normal. 84 was the high. Normal high is supposed to be 80. The low was 67. That's 2 degrees above normal. So that puts us 4 degrees above normal for the day at Islip, and Central Park got up to 84, and that's 2 degrees above normal for them. So, yeah, above normal, but not, like I said, not a bad. The humidity was a little bit less. It was, if it was a decent day to be outside, I wish I had spent more time outside today, but unfortunately I just wasn't up to it after. You'll see in the other video. I don't want to discuss it here. But anyway, let's go to the, again, the MODIS. We'll pull out on the MODIS here so you can see. This was the nice air mass, clear air mass we were supposed to get this weekend. We never got that. And you can see there's a little bit of smoke there. And then we have the fires here. Look at all these fires here again. going on in Canada. Let's see, we got a lot of them in British Columbia, fires in Alberta, fires in the Northwest Territories, and all that smoke is. And then, oh yeah, look at this. We also got fire here with maybe some pyrocumulus cloud in Oregon as well. So these fires are still going as well. So yeah, more wildfires going, and more smoke. Looks like a little smoke over Chicago too. So let's take the look at the other latest big weather story, which is the tropics, obviously. So let's go to the National Hurricane Center and talk about Hurricane Franklin and Tropical Storm Idalia. Here is another hard to pronounce ice storm for you. And hopefully it won't take the same track as that other hard to pronounce ice storm, which was Isaias. I don't think it should, but we'll look at the models and we'll see what they have to say. Obviously, this Franklin here is going to not be a threat to us, but it will become a major hurricane. Let's get the latest public advisory, but it's going to stay out in the ocean. Franklin's forecast to become a major hurricane on Monday, but there is life-threatening surf and rip currents possible along the east coast, where the ocean will be affected by this. So as of 5 p.m., its location is 25.9 north, 70 west, about 320 miles north-northeast of Grand Turk Island, and about 535 miles southwest of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds are 100 miles an hour, moving north-northwest at 8 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 970 millibars. And the extent of the hurricane force winds is still only out to 25 miles in the center. Tropical storm force winds extend out up to 140 miles from the center. So let's look at some imagery of Franklin. And we'll go over here and we'll look at Franklin on here. So here's Franklin. You can definitely see, yeah, it's starting to get that classic buzzsaw look. It's definitely undergoing some rapid strengthening. You can see there a pretty well-defined eye, especially on the infrared. Very well-defined. And actually, we can use this. Let's see, can we? Oh, yeah, we can't do that on here. But yeah, there's Franklin. I was trying to see if I wanted to see the lightning, but they don't have that. They don't have that loop. But anyway, let's go to the next one. Now, this one is as bad as it looks. Luckily it's going to stay away from land. But the other one is a different story. So let's go talk about Idalia. I don't know. Maybe it's Idalia. I'll have to figure out how to pronounce this one. But looking at the cone here, you see this is the track, and you see it's forecast. Unlike Isaias, it's going to curve to the right. It's not going to go up the coast. But it will impact the Western Florida and Florida Panhandle, and they now have hurricane watches in effect for much of Florida, and you can see tropical storm warnings are in effect for part western Cuba and part on the extreme eastern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. So we're looking at a landfall sometime late Tuesday night into Wednesday in western Florida, and the upper west coast of Florida and the Panhandle. Is what we're looking at. So let's get the latest on Idalia. Dahlia is definitely strengthening, about 100, so its location is 20.1 north, about 85.4 west, about 100 miles east-southeast of Cozumel, Mexico. Maximum sustained winds of 45 miles an hour, moving east-northeast at just 3 miles an hour. It's really crawling. Minimum central pressure is 995 millibars, or 29.39 inches. So let's go take a look at Idalia now on the satellite. Let me find it here. All right, so now we're going to go to Idalia. So this is Idalia. Oh, Idalia is definitely looking low. Yeah, it's definitely starting to strengthen. See that? There's some really bright colors there. That's definitely the sign of a strengthening hurricane, strengthening tropical storm. So, and once it makes it north of this area here and out into the open Gulf, that's when this thing is really going to take off with those warm Gulf waters. Again, if we go look at Earth in old school, you'll see the water temperatures are way above normal in the Gulf. So let's go and take a look at that. Sea surface temperature anomalies. You see the Gulf is pretty much above normal here. And look at that El Nino. My gosh. That is a super El Nino for sure. But if we look at the Gulf, all right, we don't have too big of an anomaly, but it is 2.3. The water is directly offshore Florida, or 3 degrees above normal. And the actual sea surface temperature there is, yeah, look at the purple. That's hot. So if we look at that, you'll see here, pulling that out, 88, so nearly 90-degree water here. This storm is going to have plenty of fuel to work with once it gets over those waters. So this is what Idalia looks like. And we can actually do some more of these. So Caribbean, we can do. Let's see if we can do a lightning. All right. So here's there. There, by the way, is Franklin. All right. You can see again. Look at how well Franklin looks. Let's see if we can do the Gulf of Mexico here. Well, again, we'll do the GLM flash intensity here. Definitely see some strengthening going on because we'll see bright white clouds over here too as well. So that is also a sign of a strengthening storm system. So let's go to tropical tidbits next, and we'll look at. And by the way, we'll look at these on MODIS as well. So this is Franklin on MODIS, and this is Idalia over here, which you can't really see too well. But let's go now to tropical tidbits and look at our current storms. So first, let's look at Franklin on the satellite here. And again, this is Franklin really undergoing some really nice intensification there. You can see really cold cloud tops there. That's a storm that's definitely in a strengthening mode and will become a major hurricane, perhaps as much. It probably will reach Category 4 status, I think. And thank God it's recurving out. And again, looking at these models, you see each and every one of them take it out to sea. Just very fortunate. Looking at your intensity guidance, again, some models take it up to Category 4. And again, I think it will reach Category 4 or get close to it for sure. Let's now go to the next storm again, because Franklin, as bad as it looks, luckily it's going to stay out in the ocean. We have Dahlia. So we have Dahlia as well. So let's take a look at Dahlia here. So again, this is another look at Dahlia, and you'll see again, this is definitely undergoing some strengthening. It looks disorganized, but once it gets away from the Yucatan, gets out into that open Gulf, it's going to take off. These are the tracks, and you see they all take that right-hand turn, so it's going to go in over the Florida pan, like over northwestern Florida. This whole area here, it's going to cross and then go back out in the ocean, but continue east, and luckily not go up the coast. Right now, all the models seem to agree on that. But looking at intensity guidance, some of them take it up to a Category 2. I think the possibility is it could get up to a Category 3. Be prepared that the models can always underestimate these storms, again, given the really warm water conditions that the storm has to work with, again. And that's, it's pretty much your look at the tropics right now. So let's go shift gears to look at the models now, and let's look at the North American view, and we'll start looking at the jet stream here. So here's the jet stream, and you'll see you see what the problem is here. So this is why we didn't get into that. That jet stream never really came down far enough to really give us that nice dry air mass. Kind of got hung up. So you see what happens. Here's Franklin. Here's the trough, and again, this same thing again. It's slowing that. The jet stream's a mess. It doesn't want to come and bring, dip down far enough, and there's like little pieces of it. But luckily, it's enough to sweep both Franklin and Idalia away from us. So be fortunate for that. And as we head into September, you'll see here there are some troughs, but you also see that there's a tendency for some ridging as well, especially toward the end of the period, with the trough in the northwest. And they're very weirdly shaped trough, too, I might add. Look at that. Just very strange. So let's look at the European model here at the 12Z as well. See what changes there are, because there are some differences here. So here's the European. Again, there's that trough kicking it out. All right. And then you can see, again, as we get toward the end into September, I do see some ridging in the east, which could mean some heat. So back to the GFS we go. Let's look at the upper air. So we can see, and again, you clearly see here on here, there's Franklin. So there's Franklin getting picked up, flung out. And here's Idalia also getting flung out as well. But then as we get into the weekend, you see this broad upper ridge start to develop across, and especially toward as we get later into September, and that's my concern. You can see it's definitely popping some other storms into existence, some other tropical systems that we'll have to watch, no doubt. Looking at the European, so here's the European model. All right, here's the trough, picks it up, flings both of them out, luckily. But you see there definitely is an agreement that we're going to see some ridging in the east as we get into September, and perhaps a trough in the west, which means, yeah, more heat perhaps for us again. So let's go to back to the GFS. Actually, we'll keep it over here. Back to CONUS and look at our surface map. So this is the European, all right? So again, this is Franklin. This is Idalia, all right? All right, so Franklin, and you see over us, you can see we've got the stall front syndrome again. So yes, get ready for more rain chances Tuesday and Wednesday. And then that high eventually tries to build in and give us some nice weather as we get toward Thursday. For there is a Dahlia right there. And Dahlia will stay, probably try as it goes all the way out there. And you can see it just goes, and God, it makes that right-hand turn instead of going up the coast. And hopefully that's going to continue in all the model runs. So that's the European. Let's go to the GFS. So here's the GFS, and you see there is Franklin again. You can see it again. It deepens, gets pretty strong, but you can see also that there's those rain chances going to linger in the forecast even into Wednesday. We're open Wednesday. We could dry out, and then maybe we'd have to wait until Thursday or Friday to dry out, and then you can see a Dahlia moving slowly away. But after that, it looks like we'll have a dry period. I know it's been a ridiculously rainy August, and I know. So speaking of rain, let's take a look at our total accumulated precip map on here as well as we go through here, and I'll run this through. You'll see definitely you can see also the rain from Idalia. That is the next thing that's going to affect Florida as well, is the rain. Right now it's just too early to show you where it's going to happen, but you see Midwest stays dry. There is some rain falling in the Northwest. But not really a whole lot. It's mostly, you can see again where it's dry in the Midwest, and also California is dry as well. And European, I think we have that parameter in the European too, so let's go ahead and look at that as well. European might look a little bit different, but you see the European is definitely wetter for us, and definitely giving us yet more rain, heavier rain, Tuesday into Wednesday here. And again, we keep getting, and meanwhile the areas that need it don't get it, though it looks like some might make it into British Columbia eventually as we get toward into September. So let's look at our temperature anomaly charts. And again, we'll start with the European here. You can see again that typical well above normal in the west pattern continues. We go into, you'll see as we go into Monday, below normal temperatures. We go a little bit above normal, but mostly below. And you can see, though, Canada is way above normal. And then look what happens as we get into September. That above normal weather moves into the east. So that's the problem. And if I should really just take this out and just show you in the North American view here, the above normal temperatures and then move into eastern Canada. And we could see more flare-ups of wildfires as we get into September in eastern Canada, perhaps. So here's the GFS, and I think it's going to show the same thing. So you can see how the heat kind of moves from the west to the east a little bit, though it still shows some cool downs coming. But you can see it does show more heat again in the east, perhaps around mid-September there. It's showing some well above normal temperatures, so it's not something I like to see. That's for sure. Making our way to the surface again, you can see, making our way to the North American view, you can see again those way above normal temperatures. So I'm not liking that at all. So, unfortunately, more heat. I was hoping we'd be done with the heat. So, let's go to the other thing we can look at here, which is dew points. So, I want to show you a couple of things. The 700 to 300 humidity. So, kind of show these tropical systems here as well. So, you'll see there's Franklin. So you can see the dry air. So, you can see we're going to be dealing with moist air Tuesday, and then lingering into Wednesday. You can see some really thick moisture. That means more rain, and then the dry air eventually pushes in and forces that other storm, Idalia, whatever, to go out. You can see here we stay in the relatively dry, and then you can see a relatively dry here pattern. I don't normally show this, but it kind of shows you how much moisture is in the air. So looking at dew points, which I don't just show in the country, you'll see here. You can see we're definitely going to get into some humidity Tuesday and partially Wednesday too, and then we have to wait until Thursday to get out of it again. And then, I mean, we haven't really gotten out of the humidity much today, but you see after that we should be out of the humidity by then. But as we get later into the forecast, you'll see, all right, there's a couple of fronts that come through, but you definitely see there could be some more humidity in there. All right, so let's take a look at go closer into our region and look at the more short-range models. Now you get an idea of what's going to happen in the longer range. Let's go look at the shorter range with the HRRR and look at the dew points. So you see the dew points, they're not going to come down that much. They're going to be probably in the 60s. It'll be moderately humid tomorrow. You see there's an east wind, so that will keep the temperatures down. And then as we get into Tuesday, we continue with that east wind to becoming southeast, and the humidity starts rising, which is going to add the fuel for more rain. You can see there's a front coming in off the west, but that front, once again, is going to take its sweet time coming through. So here we go, looking at your temperatures. Won't cool off that much tonight, and tomorrow we'll probably have highs only in the 70s due to a lot of cloud cover and those east winds. And then Tuesday, even cooler with the rain chances. Temperatures only in the low to mid 70s. And then going further along here, if we look at the GFS, look at the dew points here, and we will look at the precipitation in a moment, but I want to show the dew points first so you see, explain why we're going to have this precipitation lingering. So here's the GFS dew points. You can see high dew points continue into Wednesday. Once again, here we go again. This is always the same thing. The fronts keep slowing down and slowing down. Luckily, it's fast enough to sweep these tropical systems out. But you can see we're still going to be dealing with humidity on Wednesday. Originally, we were supposed to have decreasing humidity. We're going to have to wait until Thursday to get the humidity down, and then the dew points should drop with the northeast winds there. And you can see after that, you'll see the eye storm there is. What is the name of that storm? Forget. Whatever. You can see it's kind of sitting over there a little bit, but it should stay away. It's going to stay out to sea, but you will see. There's a couple of fronts coming through there, and then the humidity. So let's just take a peek and see how bad this heat could get as we begin September here. And I don't really want to look, but we're going to look. So obviously this week we're going to stay relatively on the cool side. Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have temperatures only in the 70s. Friday, when we start heating up to the upper 70s. Saturday, we start seeing temperatures maybe get close to 80. And then Sunday, September 3rd, we could start getting back to some heat with high temperatures near 90 perhaps. And then here comes the heat for Labor Day as well. So going to be a hot Labor Day, and then cools off for a little bit before we see the heat kind of return here. And again, you notice what's going on here. There's another heat dome. Here we go around September 8th. There's a heat dome that we're going to be on the fringe of. Look at some of these temperatures it's showing. Hundreds into Ontario. That's absolutely nuts. Of course, this is a long-range prediction. And if we look at the 12Z, it's not there. So just keep that in mind. But I am concerned about some of this, that we could be dealing with more heat in September. And I don't like the way this looks at all, to be honest with you. So this is just a long range. Hopefully it doesn't come to fruition, but speaking of that, let's go to the Climate Prediction Center and take a look at our 6 to 10 day outlook. And you can see, yep, there's the way above normal temperatures. You see they painted us now at above normal temperatures, way above in the Midwest, somewhat below normal with the precipitation. That above normal continues nearly the whole country in the 8 to 14 day with below normal precipitation. So not a good pattern going into September. Again, the jet stream remains missing in action. And this is what happens when you have a jet stream that's a mess. So let's now go look back at the precipitation. All right, so we're going to do that. Go back to the HRRR at 0Z and look at the precipitation that we're going to be starting to deal with as far as the rain goes. So you can see there's some isolated showers over eastern Connecticut tonight. Tomorrow we should stay dry. It's Tuesday that we start seeing those rain chances return. Here's Tuesday morning. Just chances for scattered showers. Generally scattered activity. Here we are into Tuesday. That's as far out as we've got on the HRRR. But there will be more rain after that. If we go into the GFS here, you'll see. As you get into Wednesday, you can see there's like another area of rain that moves through Wednesday morning. And then we can finally, and this is Thursday, they're actually trying to bring the rain closer to us now in this run, I noticed. See, 12Z's, well, it's about the same, I guess. But it is trying to bring it a little closer as that ice storm I guess I gotta go to the freaking what's it called? Idalia. Dahlia comes close to us, and this is something we'll still have to watch because, again, we've seen how things change, and if that front doesn't make it through, then this storm may come closer to us. Franklin, we don't have to worry about, but Idalia is another story, and then we're gonna have to wait for that to be pushed aside there, and then it kind of just sits there on the GFS. You see that, right? So either way, European model. Let's look at the icon model. That's one I haven't looked at. Where's the icon model? So you can see again this is a little bit of a lower resolution model, but you can see the rain chances here and the rain chances Wednesday as well. And then there's Idalia right there, and there's the high that moves in behind it. So let's go to the NAM 12. We have some of the 0Z NAM 12 in just to show you again. Tomorrow will be dry, but here comes Tuesday, and you can see there's a decent amount of rain here. I'll run it back to the 18Z. So you see here's that first wave of rain that comes through Tuesday morning, and then another wave of rain Wednesday. Wednesday was supposed to be dry, and now the NAM is actually having it linger all throughout into Wednesday night, which is ridiculous. So if the NAM affects us here, we may be looking at the wettest August on record, because if the NAM was correct, we could be seeing another 2 to 3 inches with some of that moisture from Dahlia getting pulled up along a stalled front. So, yeah, we're still not out of the woods yet with this. I'm tired of it. I mean, this summer has absolutely sucked. And, well, that's why I was so pissed about not getting out and doing some hiking today, because now I may have to wait 4 or 5 days for the next decent day, because it's just the weather sucks. It's all due to climate change. So, let's go to the RGEM. We'll start looking at the skies, I guess. GFS first. Obviously, with all this rain around, we're going to have plenty of clouds. Probably a deck of high clouds tomorrow. Overcast Wednesday. Overcast Tuesday. Overcast Wednesday. And maybe Thursday, too, now. So, we're hoping we'd see the sun Thursday. We may have to wait until Friday now to get out of this. Again, because, again, stall front syndrome. Again, jet stream is just, weak. It's not bringing these fronts through. So here's the RGEM model, which we'll look at as well. And you'll see plenty of clouds around tomorrow. It's going to be a cloudy day. And then Tuesday, cloudy day. Wednesday, cloudy day. The RGEM may bring us a little sun, but then we got to worry about the cirrus coming from, though it looks like it's trying to push the cirrus to the south on Thursday. So whatever. We have at least 3 crappy days to look forward to. At least 3 more to get through. So we're sick of it, and it's just been such a wet August, and the areas that really need rain aren't getting it, but we're tired of it. We've gotten so much, it's ridiculous. And that's why the mosquitoes and the bugs are so bad too. It's like a swamp out there. It's ridiculous. So let's go look at the smoke models, which we will do, even though with all the cloud cover, it really isn't going to really make a difference, but we'll look at them anyway. We'll just look at the vertically integrated smoke here. You can see not too much smoke around. Most of it's in the west. You can see that western Canada there. There's that smoke, and it looks like that's diving straight down to the Midwest at this point. So we may not have to deal with that. There's nothing more frustrating if we finally do get a decent air mass. We'll have smoke. Just watch. You just cannot win, I'm telling you. So anyway, let's look at the Storm Prediction Center. As far as severe weather goes, not a whole lot going on today, tomorrow. Some marginal risks in the southeast, but not really a whole lot going on there. Let's now go and look at one other thing, which is the sea ice analysis, which is what we're going to look at. And we haven't done this in a while, so let's go look at the Arctic sea ice analysis. Arctic sea ice has significantly accelerated during early August. So this is not good at all. So we can see there's been an extreme acceleration in Arctic sea ice loss. This is what we have right now, and you can see there's just not a whole lot of ice left. A little bit here, some thin ice over here, but definitely well below what it was supposed to be there. Here is the Arctic sea ice extent. You can see, again, we're still not at the 2012 yet, but at the rate things are going, we could still beat that, perhaps. I would not be surprised if we do, because, again, we have all that smoke, all that warmth that's circulating around the Arctic, and that's that's going to darken the ice and cause it to melt even faster. So this was written August 16th, so I know it's about 11 days old. But look at this again when we get to September and see what this is, and I'm sure it will be even worse. So let's look at. Let's go back to talking about our tropical systems here, and I want to just do a little more visualization here of what it's going to be like. So, what these storms are. So first we're going to look at Franklin, obviously. This is Franklin. Right? So we're looking at the Ventu Sky site here, all right, and we'll move this into tomorrow night. So this is Franklin over here, and you can see, again, I think it's underestimating how strong it is, all right. Let's move this along to Tuesday. This is using the icon model, I believe. So here's Tuesday. Now you can see it's rapidly strengthening here. So I'm trying to figure out what day it's going to peak in strength. This is definitely Category 3 by Tuesday. Here we are at Wednesday. You can see, luckily, it's making that right-hand turn. Still could be a Category 3, but luckily it's heading out to sea. Let's look at Idalia. So we're going to look at Idalia here. All right, so this is again Tuesday night. This is Dahlia Tuesday night. All right, move this into Wednesday, and you can see it's actually gonna get. It looks like it's going to get picked up, or it's gonna when it makes. It looks like it's going to be a pretty quick landfall when it does make landfall. You can see Tampa up to like these areas are going to get hit hard. You can see some strong. Again, there's definitely going to be a storm surge, and again, this model could be underestimating how bad this is going to be. Probably is. I'm going to look at the windy as well and see what this does as well. But this is the icon model. All right. And you can see it here is re-emerging off the southeast coast. So let's go look at the windy.com model. All right. So here's the windy.com model. And this is the European model that we're looking at here. So first we have Franklin. You can see Franklin right here. So we move this tomorrow night. And you can see Franklin comes strength. And you see that white, it's pretty damn strong. This is tomorrow night. Yeah, you can definitely see that white there up there. So it's a pretty strong storm. But again, they could be underestimating it. Then it probably strengthens even more as we get to Tuesday. Yep. So here's Franklin on Tuesday. Now Bermuda is going to have to watch out for some fringe effects from it. It's going to kick up the oceans along the whole east coast. So here's Franklin. You can see that's moving north of Bermuda. It's still pretty strong. Pretty strong storm right here. And wind gusts are probably going to be stronger than that, I would imagine. And then moving that along, you can see here's Dahlia here, moving off to the south. And this is, again, the European. Keeps it off to the south, luckily, all right? But we may see some moisture from it get pulled up along the stalled front. So we're not going to get the storm, but we may see some moisture pulled up along that stalled front from it, perhaps. Because, again, if we look at the upper air winds here, well, we'd have to shift. I don't usually use this with jet streams, but the upper air is a little different at that. Let me go back to tropical tidbits so we can explain this here. Now I have two things on the screen so you get an idea of what's going to happen. All right, so we're looking at the European model, all right? This is the 18Z European, which goes out to this, all right? This is the 18Z. This is the 18Z, 12Z, all right? The 18Z is a little bit slower, all right? I'll look at the 12Z, all right? So go look at the winds. And you'll see that the wind. See what the winds are, because we have to. Yeah, you can see how some of the moisture might get ripped up and then brought up along the stalled front. So that's what we have to watch for, perhaps for wet weather on Wednesday. Perhaps right now it's just too early to tell, but it definitely, if we pull this in and look at the rain amount, well, it's not showing any rain. Yeah, it's showing that there is some moisture getting pulled up along. This is Wednesday at 11 a.m. Right now it's just too early to tell if we're going to see any of the moisture from Idalia be brought up the east coast, but the Dahlia itself is going to be out to sea after it crosses over Florida. And again, there's going to be a lot of rain there. If we look at rain accumulation, we change this to next. This is the next 3 days, so change this to next 5 days, and you'll see again this is going to be a lot of rain. That's going to also be a threat in these areas. as well, in Florida as well, and into parts of Georgia and even South Carolina, maybe even extreme eastern, southeastern North Carolina as well. As for us, we're still going to see a decent more amount of rain here, from this rain that we're going to have because of the stall front. So, what can I tell you? We got more sucky weather on the way, but hey, it could be worse. At least we're not going to deal with any of these storms, these tropical storms or hurricanes for now. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.